Alright, Anaconda VOD video. Inmendham the Tantric. Eek. So it's just such a weird world. I saw a comment by To Be Serious on Fake Sagan video, and she was trying to convert him to Buddhism. Just so funny. Anyway, or some form of it. Of course, a very Femiism, Femi Buddhism or something, Buddha-adi or something. I have to put an IA on that or something. Very pro-woman, which I'm not mocking for the sake of just mocking it. I'm just making a joke, but you know what I mean. I mean, it gets a little ridiculous, that's all. I'm just saying I'm all for the women's, fighting for their right to be as big a jackass as men. That's what it seems to, I guess that's what it turns out to be, right? You're for the women actualizing their full potential to be idiots. Unfortunate. Anyway, back to Anaconda VOD. Speaking of idiots, sorry. No, well, whatever. So he's responded as I thought, when I was saying it, I was saying, my brain did say, be careful, Gary. Okay, you gotta be careful how you talk about this, because, people who don't listen to my videos, this might sound like I'm saying something actually positive, when I'm really saying something negative, but I'm just, I'm trying to point out just how insidious the game is that we're caught up in. That, so there's so many ways for me to model it. So I have notes, I have a page here of, blah, 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 blah. So there's lots of subjects to get in here, and that's the unfortunate part, is that you could spend a half an hour on any one of these elements of the axioms that we build, the truth that founds the foundation that the monument of crapola is built on. And there's just so many of those for which me and Anaconda VOD have absolutely no agreement. To me, the present doesn't annihilate the fact that the present affects the future. So there's no way to just say it's all about the now when, frankly, what we do now completely changes tomorrow, like global warming or something. Obviously, there was not a lot of present moments that have now led to the catastrophe, which is your entire infrastructure is unsustainable and needs to be radically changed, or you're going to be turned into salamanders. Stuff like that. And it's just to me, that's not a possible, agreeable foundation, that somehow the present is everything and the future is nothing, when I would make exactly the opposite argument, that the present is almost nothing. It doesn't even really exist as a thing. There's the past and there's the future, and the present doesn't even really happen. And clearly the future is built by the circumstances, by the condition, the reflexive reactions. I mean, it's all a reflexive reaction. And so that's in here, he talks about get busy or being active, and you can't really be active. All you can be is reactive. So Anaconda VOD has reacted to his life experience, going to India and hearing the blah 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 blah, and somehow that blah 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 meant something to him. And says, oh, well, that got me thinking, and got me all voidy, and got me all looking at the crucifix of meaning and substance, and blah 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 blah. And then he read some other crap, and that said to him, no, there is no meaning, and there is no value, and nothing matters, and blah blah blah, and so don't worry about it, be happy. That's all your mission is here, is just to make your brain say everything's okay, and then everything's okay. It doesn't matter what's happening out there, it just matters what's happening in here. Again, an axiom, I can guarantee I will never, ever, ever, ever be able to have a reactive reaction inside of my brain that could ever make that make sense. Ever. Ever. There's no way you could align the cue balls to make a shot, okay, that'll ever make it make sense to me that you could say this is more important than the all of that. Just as I don't think the present 7 million human beings, if I give them all cupcakes and make them happy, and the price was that, 700 million had nails in their eyes tomorrow because of it. Yeah. Yeah, cupcake bad then. Bad. Anyway, so I'm just saying, but little bits of this you could just, so I'm just saying there's all these premises that are just meaningless to me. I mean, his premise is that life is inevitable and recurring. That there's no way that any of this stops or begins or ends and never happens again. So by his view, because the universe did this once, it will do this forever and ever and ever and ever, over and over and over and over, inevitably, blah, blah, blah. And I think I can demonstrate with facts, scientific facts, that we are totally, in common experience, unaware of just how insanely unlikely what we are ever happening. The fact that life ever became multicellular, the fact that colonies of living things would become thinking and feeling and conscious. We're not even a living thing. We're like you believing that a city, the streets and sewage ducts and the city would become a living organism, a transformer or something. How realistic does that sound to you, that the New York City would actually one day rise up as a thinking machine, and walk around and cause like Godzilla or something, like Godzilla versus New York City? You really think that could happen? But that's kind of what nature did. Huge obstacles to this stuff. Okay, happening only one time in all of the 4 billion year history of life on Earth. The event only happens once. Preposterous. Over and over and over again this happened. Events that only happen one time. So rare. So it's not like winning one lottery. It's like winning every state lottery. Now, if I told you that it was possible for a person to win every lottery in every state in 1 week, or something like that, you'd say no. Can't happen. That's just too silly. It's like rolling the Yahtzee dice and having all 5 dice with the number 5. Well, anyway, so I've made videos on this subject. They mean nothing to people, so there's no point in making them. I'm just saying it's not an acceptable axiom, okay, for you to project it as if this is a truth and this should be the foundation of conversation, is this fact that nothing we do can ever repair anything, and that it's all going to have to happen all over again. Lincoln was going to have to be shot again, and probes stuck into him, and every animal tortured, every human being suffering, everything that ever happened, it's all going to happen over and over and over and over again, and we can't do anything about it. We can't change one single tiny dripping, one bit of blood. And quite obviously, you can prevent the blood tomorrow. You can not, instead of eating a hamburger, you can eat a vegetable thing, or a bowl of green crap, or a bag of potato chips. I don't care. Clearly, there's decisions to be made, and those decisions will cause a change in the formation of the future. And that's just a truth. And we can do that based on what we know, or we can do that based on what we personally want. And that argument, again, I'd say is really easy to make, that the personal want thing is really insignificant as an influence, and the knowledge thing should be the bigger part of our control mechanism. Alright, so back to the fundamental subject of the video, which is a statement I made about passion, sexual mostly, and a concession to the fact. When I thought about it as he was talking, I was thinking about cigarettes. I was thinking about the fact that your first cigarette, or let's say my 100th cigarette, and then my 1,000,000th cigarette. The 1,000,000th cigarette is just as good as the 100th. It's weird to have something in life that does that, where the millionth one is just as good. But you can almost say that sex has a quality that has a power like that. Is this reoccurrence, and each 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 iteration of the experience is itself an experience. It's its own little experience. And in a sense, certainly you can go through periods where it's maybe less romantic or less beautiful or less this or less that, more pornographic, more crude, more different things like that that might take an edge off here or there. But I'm just saying the idea of the passion itself, the power of the sensations experienced, have an enduring capacity to just keep you moving, keep feeding you. The food still has a first time kind of sense to it, like a virgin feel to it, and that this power has, by our perception, is almost made of nothing. It's like we get it for free. And I guess what I did qualify in my statement but that's the trick of it. It's not for free. Like the cigarette is just a silly addiction. The sex drive, of course, we know where that comes from. It's just a natural function that we've been rewarded to perform. So in that sense, it's trivial. And it's just using a pre-existing condition. It is using the condition of you are born crying. You're born in tension with the environment. So I could even compare this to physics and magnets and these positions and these obligations. It won't do this, it won't do that, you can't do this, this will make that happen. It's all this kind of tension we live in with the world, the environment. It's too hot, it's too cold, the air is dirty, allergies. There's always a tension with our environment and the struggle to find our peace. The seeking of the perfect comfort. And that's sort of what sex is playing on. It's kind of promising you the promised land. It's the mirage that might be a real one. You have lots of stuff that, as you're walking your desert, there's lots of stuff that floats into your perception. And you say, maybe that'll be it. Maybe that'll be it. Maybe I'll grab some of that. Maybe I can get some. And it all seems like it might be something. But sex is the one thing where you can kind of always go to that well and get a drink of water. And then you can walk the desert some more. That was the metaphor I was trying to use. I was trying to just imply that this is a source of energy for the addiction, for the playing of the game. And that if you... I even made this argument in previous years about virtual reality. And so if I was trying to construct some kind of perfect, harmless game to play, that it would appear, if I just drew it on a piece of paper, that I could create this virtual reality where I just wake up in the morning on my yacht, and there's the beautiful woman, and I have a little morning fun, have some orange juice, maybe a drink. And then I go off to Pebble Beach and I play some golf, and there's chicks on every green, and maybe I have a little fun, in the middle of the day, a little snack, maybe a nap, and then finish my round in the afternoon. It's all perfect weather, and it's all perfect everything, perfect sunsets, perfect you could just play this perfect life of just waking up in this world where you're going to have a perfect agenda every day. And just go through this process of getting what you want. But then I had to think about what actually generates the desire. And then that's when I sort of realized that you can't have the desire unless there was some memory, some knowledge of why is this valuable? Why do I need this? Why do I need this other person to want me to fuck them? And why do I need the whole the whole pageantry has a psychological element to it that's deep and profound. And that psychological element comes from maybe years of not having, maybe years of deprivation, and a long walk in a very harsh desert that makes that mirage mean something. It wouldn't mean anything if I didn't have blisters on my feet, and if I wasn't weak and tired from the oppressive heat, and almost dizzy, and almost worn out by it. That's what makes it really mean something, is that deprivation. So you don't get it for free. So if I was going to create somebody to play, see, now I'm already there, right? I've already lived the deprivation. I've already lived the experiences that have created this need to validate or accomplish, to satisfy this drive mechanism. And so there's that narrative has already been written for me. And so I'm coming to the game already having walked the desert and acquired the appreciation for like his cheese or something. I don't know exactly how to explain why something like that kind of an experience would mean something. I guess you have to eat a lot of bland food to have appreciation for the perfect piece of food, the fun food. And just understand that it's only fun food, because if you live on it, you die. Another way to say this, I suppose, is that these are things you can only have in moderation. And the fact that you're only allowed to touch them in moderation gives you appreciation for them. Sunset means something because it only lasts for a few minutes. If it was there all day, then yeah, maybe it wouldn't mean anything to us. Of course, it doesn't mean anything. So anyway, so I guess I did qualify my statement by saying that yes, what I'm saying is that this seems the easiest part of the game to justify, is this where I can write this narrative of gratification, but I can only do it in that perfect world. The perfect world where you don't get cancer, and where all kinds of horrible things don't happen to you. You don't have my shoulder aches, and you don't have the miseries that come with real life. And but again, it's generated out of would I impose that knowledge of want, of the psychological pain, impression. I guess that's the word we could use. Would I stamp the impression of deprivation into an innocent child? I have to drive deprivation into it to give him the capacity to truly appreciate the pure water, and that's just sort of the function. And I just don't think like I said, there are some vices that seem kind of perfect, like a cigarette. Oh, except it does give you cancer. But I mean, just the mechanism of the addiction seems this yin yang, as I was describing. It doesn't seem like there's much more going in than you get a lot out, literally, and a lot out are equal. At least there's some sort of balance there. But again, I did point out that I would create neither human, the human that has this, and again, I was using it for the sake of the argument of just what enables us to perform. And I did state the argument that you have to feed the monkey. You have to translate ideas into the monkey of visceral personal interest. And that is it's a terrible flaw in the function, in our function, is that you always have to turn ideals into a personal interest. So somehow you have to connect global warming to some self-interest of pride in yourself, or not feeling like an asshole because you didn't do anything about it. So any problem in the world that may not necessarily affect you personally, but you know is going to be a bad thing, you somehow have to make that personal. So if you see that there's a flaw in a car that you're not going to buy, but you're working on the design for the car and you know there's a flaw in it, your brain says, well, my interest is I don't want to feel like Mengele. I don't want to feel like some kind of evil bastard because I didn't do anything to stop what is obviously going to harm people. So now it's my self-interest in the sense that I've made my ego and my ability to look myself in the mirror and realize that, no, well, for my $50,000 paycheck, I can't allow people to be killed or harmed or maimed, paralyzed, whatever. And so I have to make it personal. And that's, again, getting back to this argument that that's the understanding is that this personal thing is swell in a world where there's no consequences. And that's what Antakanavad is attempting to do. He's attempting to say, look, all there is how you feel, and you might as well just maximize your personal experience because nothing matters. And clearly my axiom is exactly the opposite, which is you're a tiny speck of potential to feel, a value entity. And there's a gigantic amount of value at stake regarding how you behave. You can, in fact, as one man does, like Hitler or something, you can, in fact, cause substantial harm. Or you can do something to create substantial good. And these are truths of your function. So I'm going to argue your real function is not a self thing. It's the real world is the future and what you did to it. What your contribution to its the level of its poisonousness. Let's see. Okay, so alright, past lost to meaning of present. Oh yeah, that was a whole different subject, but just the idea of the there's so many parts to life that are lamentable, but one that's always bothered me is this, when it comes to this identity thing and what we're actually doing, even if we live the great life, the fact that your life deteriorates and you do fall into disrepair, and then you get remembered in the present. Your present becomes a mess, monstrosity, and anything that was in the past, the better performance of the past, the person of the past is lost to the present. And so it's like every person I've known, or even all the animals I've known, that I have had the unfortunate experience of seeing them degrade or die, and watch them go through some substantial degrade and protracted, maybe over years of degrade. It's impossible to now separate. That becomes the person. The more current memory is the one you can't see past, and it just always obscures the perfection that might have been the better moment, the more perfect moment. So I guess I would analogize that to life, is that you realize in living it that your perfect moments of the splendor in the grass and all these beautiful things, they will be paid for with these very unbeautiful events that are happening not only to you but to other people. And that's the reality. And you can wish it different, but that's how it is. Alright. I mean, I could just go on. I can make a lot of arguments about this. I've done it in the past. Years ago, I would bring up my grandmother, who was 107, and if she would have died at 103, the story would have been so fucking much better. So you take 103 years and kind of turn them upside down, just ruin them in a sense, because the last 4 years were so bad. So it's, because you have these, you just take this horrible poison and just, throw it in the 103-year-old pie. I'm not saying the 103 years were perfect. I'm just saying it was so much better then. It was just so, the last 4, just, what a mess. Toxic 4 years. All right. So again, my bringing the whole thing up was just again to argue that the strength of the monkey, the passions, is powerful, and it's incredibly useful to knowledge to have a strong monkey, a monkey that you can make a mirage that means something, and that's a powerful motivating mechanism. Having a person that is wanting. So yeah. So it's almost like I don't even buy Anaconovide's argument that he doesn't see the value in the sensation because he lives for these sensations. I mean, he glows over the sensations, and yet he'll, in a sense, try to argue they all mean nothing. No, that's just bullshit. The problem is the bad sensations are as bad as the good ones are good, kind of thing, and it's just doesn't work out. The math doesn't work on the big picture scale, and can only work in the warped perception of the individual who's not really accounting for why they are passionate and what was required to make them that way. Again, the walking the desert to generate the thirst. Yeah, probably the best way to say that. Okay, let's see if there's anything I need to add. I mean, I really want to get to this personal versus, the bigger picture thing, because that's really the, the self function versus the real function. The real function isn't you, and the real thing at stake is waste, is the horrible inefficiency of what you have to pay to create that perfection. The perfection isn't going to just be makeable out of nothing. You can't just, you can't do it that way. And especially on this planet, the whole biosphere has to suffer just to make the air you breathe. And every bit of food you eat is made out of, it's just ground up torment. And you can say that you're worth it, but I can't put anything together in my brain that could say you're worth it. Alright, so self-gratification versus functional perfection. Okay, so these would be the two things in conflict. Your perfect personal gratification versus your perfect influence in the world. And I'm going to argue that those two things don't really have anything to do with each other. And in a strong sense, you're not going to be incredibly gratified doing what the world requires, because it requires you to jump on the grenade kind of thing. It requires for you to really save the day. Saving the day isn't going to be like I have sex with the hot 17-year-old. That's not saving the day. Like when Superman shows up, his job isn't going to be, yeah, fuck that hot chick and then take a nap. That's not probably going to save the day. So maximizing your existence in terms of its impact on the comfort, the condition of the future, not going to be personally gratifying. It's just not likely. And I can't even imagine just making an argument. Like I said, I can argue for you that yes, I would agree with Anaconovat that if the future doesn't matter, okay, then fine, just maximize your personal experience while you're here, get the most out of it. But again, I wouldn't argue that the separate subject is peaking your personal performance or being as comfortable as you can be is a separate subject from what are the consequences of life existing and what's the price paid for it. And he doesn't want to have that conversation because by his theories, scientific, he doesn't think those things are real. They don't mean anything. They have no weight to the value equation of just making this argument that all I'm really here to do is mentally construct as weak a desert and as strong a mirage as possible. Just maximize the ability to pay as little in to get as much pleasure out. And like I said, I'm even working with words like that, I guess I'm a little uncomfortable with, because yes, it's more about comfortable. That's all we're really seeking, is to relieve the tension between us and the world, the pressure, it's all around us all the time. The universe, in a sense, it really, if you think about it, all the forces, all the energy going through us at any one moment, all the, I would argue there's this a nuclear bomb kind of a volume of tons flying through you all the time, and they're all, in a sense, ripping you, having an ability to tear you to pieces. And everything's just bound by these connections of associations, over billions of years of filtering. But there's an acute tension in the system, and that tension isn't realized in the present. It's experienced a little tiny bit through many presents. Through this moment right now. I'm making a video, I'm sort of concentrating, but I am aware that my knees are cold. And I'm aware that right in here there's some kind of whatever, my forearm is kind of, because I'm leaning against this, and now my elbow hurts. I got but that's how we absorb the passion. It's like you have to have the bullets, and we're collecting the bullets. It's very hard to talk about sex without you getting gross or too funny, but I just mean, yes, you're collecting the bullets, little bit at every present at a time. You're collecting the bullets, and you'll shoot them later, kind of a thing. So it's probably a good point to end on. Clearly my hostility towards Anaconovat is his axioms. I just can't. They're offensive. To degrade the meaning of sentient torture is, in my opinion, just insane. I'm sorry, it's maniacally insane. And I know from my own personal experience, and I can't possibly see it some other way, that if I was told that I'm going to spend 4 years on the gurney, I'm going to die in some kind of horrible way, and I'm going to spend 4 years on the gurney, so to speak, being cut to pieces and going through all kinds of horrid, awful, nauseating, just debilitating, incredibly obnoxious sensations. Where time is going to slow down so much, and every moment, every zing of pain is going to be experienced as oh no, here it comes again. Oh no, here it comes again. Oh no, here it comes again. What? For a few wanks? For this I would endure that to play this game that I know is a game, where I know I'm just chasing it because I was thrown in the desert, and that's what you do when you're in a desert, is you search for water. I would do it because I know what a cigarette is, an addictive substance. I wouldn't more rationally say, don't give me the cigarette, just free me of the addiction. And I guess the fact that, you know, he can't concede simple things like that's all this is. This perception of purpose is something you've been addicted to see. Only addicts can see it. Only cigarette smokers, so to speak, can understand how beautiful it is. But they're not understanding. They're doing exactly the opposite. They're not understanding how stupid it is. Alright, maybe that's a good place to end. So anyway, yeah, I don't think I said anything overtly contrary to any of my fundamental philosophy. It's just that somebody could interpret it as well, I don't think they, like I said, I think I qualified it enough for it not to be used as anything to mean anything. I mean, I'm obviously a passionate person. I'm obviously a person that has a sense of humor. I'm obviously a person who can enjoy living and experiences. So I mean, it's almost like, whoa, I have to defend the fact that I can do all that shit, you idiots. I'm obviously a gorilla. I'm just saying that I have a better brain than that. And that's what I'm arguing in defense of, is we shouldn't be living or advocating for living life as gorillas. We should be advocating for letting our better understanding make all the future decisions. And so that's why I would say that the easy thing to temper is this need to create new humans and all of that stuff. I can understand why you want to fuck a 17-year-old. I really can't understand why you really need to make babies. Sorry. I don't think you really need that. Yeah, I think you can find a potato chip replacement for that beef burger. Anyway. Yeah, this should be enough. Alright, I'll let it go. It's almost like there's too many subjects, and that's, I guess, part of what I'm saying, is it's just to go through the axioms again would, and it sort of needs to be done. Like I said, that's part of what I want to do in future videos, is cut these 10 facts that you really have to be premises of rational conversation. You really can't have rational conversation outside of some sort of axioms that you can agree on. And there's just basic facts about evolution, about the nature of human psychology, about the word addiction meaning something substantial to how we function. Anyway, enough said. Blah, blah, blah. Till next time and such.